Okay, hello everyone. Lisa here with another Health Freedom Series video tip for y'all. And today I have a very special person with me, my friend and my stepsister, Heather Fletcher. Hi, Heather.
Hi,
How are
Lisa.
you?
Good.
Say
How are you?
hello. So
Hello.
Heather is a former air traffic controller and a homeschooling dynamo mom of three. She is standing up for her and her family's freedom to make their own choices when it comes to medical freedom and any medical procedures. So before we get started, I just want to say my usual disclaimer. Anything that we say on this video is not meant to diagnose, treat, or cure any condition you may or may not have. So on that note, Heather, I'm glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, so
Glad to
tell
be here.
me, what got you into this whole health freedom, medical choice arena?
Well, I think it mainly started when I started trying to just get healthier and eat healthier, and I started to really do a lot of digging into what's going on with our food in America and what's in our grocery stores and so forth. So that's when I started. Then I'd say that's probably about maybe 10 years ago. I did a little bit of digging there, and then I kind of, some things weren't adding up, and I said, well, I thought my government was trying to look out for me, so why is all this horrible food in the shelves and on the shelves, and all these added ingredients and high fructose corn syrup and pretty much everything that's out there? And so that kind of got me a little bit on my own path a little bit. And like you said, I was working for the federal government, but things just weren't really adding up there. So anyway, fast forward to when the COVID pandemic kind of came to, well, hit the world and came to
Yeah.
America. I was kind of buying into some of what the media was saying, and I was trying to do my part, and I was wearing my mask, and I was, staying pretty much locked down and doing everything that I should be doing to try to protect everyone and keeping, especially the elderly, safe and my family safe. And I kind of was buying all into it. And then um, January 2020 hit, and the vaccines had just started to roll out, and I had a some
Shots.
of the shots.
Shots.
Sorry, not the vaccine.
We're
The
never, sometimes
gene
we're not sure what's
therapy,
in them. Yeah.
the mRNA gene therapy shots, jabs started rolling out, and I had someone very close to me take the shot, and in less than 24 hours, and he was worried about it, but he did it, and he died. And
Oh,
I was like, you know, something's not right here. But I'm like, I'm just going to watch it. I wasn't eligible to get to the shot yet anyway,
this is when
because
they
we're
were
the
doing the
elderly.
over 65 or the elderly
Yes,
in the
yes. The
beginning.
elderly got it first, and and they were rolling it out and stuff. So I was like, I'm just going to keep my eye on it. I kept Googling and seeing, okay, has there been more deaths reported, anything kind of coming up. And of course, I was looking on Google, and there was, oh, maybe one death here, one death there, but, not a lot of information and a lot of just stuff saying everything's good to go.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I don't know, it seems a little weird that no one else would be experiencing this, but and then I kept checking in with the VAERS and seeing if I could see anything there. And that information is kind of hard to get at if you don't have someone extracting the information and compiling it for you. It's hard to actually find where all the adverse events are being reported in the website. So I wasn't really getting very far there. And so then March 2020 hit, and I was watching 60 Minutes with my husband, and there was a special, well, they had a 60 Minutes show, and one of the sections on the show was about fluvoxamine and how this doctor was at a racetrack, and a bunch of people got sick with COVID, and he's like, I'm going to have a mass tragedy on my hands. So it's like, and he had gotten a hot tip that maybe fluvoxamine might help with COVID symptoms. So he said, you know what, I don't have anything else for you guys. Just, I heard about this. If you want to try it, we can. And he had great success. He had like no deaths and maybe a few hospitalizations, but
Was
really
he
good
here in the
success.
United States?
He was in the
Okay.
United States. Yep. And I can give you that information if you want to put that on your website,
Yeah,
the 60
great.
minute segment. And so I was like, oh my goodness, this is a game changer because, people still, I don't even know at that point if I was eligible for the shot. I might have been starting to get there, but there were still people dying, lots of people dying. The Delta variant was just, I don't even know if it had really hit yet. And there was still a lot of deaths daily. And I'm like, when people hear this, it's going to be all over the news. It's going to be everywhere. And, it's going to save lives. And then, so I kept waiting. A couple days later, I'm like, Mike, that's my husband. I was like, something is really off here. They're not talking about fluvoxamine on the media at all. Why not? I mean, 60 Minutes is it's like a media show, so I'm like, I don't understand why they're not talking about it. And so I had some whispers in my ear from my stepsister, Lisa, and my grandparents saying, like, you need to do your own research, you need to read. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And I started doing my own research, and I went to DuckDuckGo like you had suggested, and I started to really dig in deep. And then once I started digging, I didn't stop. And I just, it still took a little while to totally awaken and get to the kind of the veil lifted from my eyes. And I mean, so being on both sides of it, kind of believe in the narrative that was being pushed upon us, and then waking up, I mean, it's just now when I see the news, I can see it's just all lie after lie after lie after lie, trying to push one thing, and that's their gene therapy shot. And there's no other. They've suppressed early COVID treatments, and so
Yeah, there
yeah.
were quite a few treatments that came out in early and mid 2020. The two that we're not supposed to mention, which most people know what they are.
Yes.
the Ivor and the Hydra.
Yeah.
And both of those, have been around for years. They've been around for decades. And they've been used very safely in other, for other treatments, for other, illnesses. And I've even taken one of them myself. And, I'm the queen
So
of
have
side. I know I'm the queen. I'm the queen of side effects. And I tell everybody, well, if I can take it safely, then I assure you, you will not have side effects. Or if you do, they'll be very mild, because if I can take it, you can take it. But yeah, very shocking. And then you're the one who told me about the, how do you say it again? Fluvoxamine?
Fluvoxamine.
Yeah, you told me about that. And I hadn't heard of that either. Maybe in passing, just briefly. But the fact that they were suppressing all three of these things and not allowing doctors to do what they do best, which is figure out the individual's needs and treat them according to what it is that they need, right? That was a big one for me too. That's when I was like, wait a minute, I'm the type of person that says, I love my freedom, you do you, I'll do me. But when you try to mess with my health, and obviously I've been in health and wellness most of my life. You want to come after me with a medical procedure and try to force me to do something when I say no, I've got other things over here I can try or do. And that's been a challenge in the holistic and the natural health field, I think, forever. They have always said, well, no, taking vitamins and supplements and doing all that natural stuff, that won't work. Here, you need to take our medications and our pills. And I don't see why they can't work together. So I don't, and again, I'm all about health and medical freedom and choice. So when it comes to these treatments, I don't see why we can't have a choice. Why is it only you have to go get these shots? That's the only, and I see what you're saying, like in the media when they were that's all they were trying to say. And, they were trying to debunk every study about every other treatment that was out there. And they all they all helped. And, you know, I'm telling people now, I just posted something on my website that another study came out about the ivermectin, and it said they had great success, 75% lower hospitalization rate, and all these good things about it. And finally, it's starting to get more mainstream. So has Fluvoxamine gotten more mainstream as well?
I know some doctors prescribe it and people are taking it, but the NIH, they have a study on ivermectin and fluvoxamine, and they're not going to release that data. They knew. So this is what also got me. They had this gene therapy, brand new technology. They rush it out, right? No long-term safety data. No, we have no idea how it's going to affect us. And that got an emergency use authorization, but we couldn't get emergency use authorization for drugs that have already been FDA approved, like you said, for the stuff and
hydroxy.
the hydroxy.
Yeah, all of it.
And
I
the
guess we can say it here.
fluvoxamine was already FDA approved for like 40 years. Yeah. So
yeah, a long time.
That
and we have right to try laws in this country, as far as I knew.
Right. So the Ivor and the fluvoxamine, like hydroxychloroquine, just got shut down. Hardcore, right? So they weren't even. I don't even know that they were doing any studies.
You can make your own at home. I think that's why it was. Nobody was going to make any money off of it.
Yes,
so it was too inexpensive. They weren't going to make any money on it. So
yeah, but conveniently, the CDC isn't going to release the data on the Ivor and the fluvoxamine until 2023. So these are two drugs that they have plethora of studies on, and their own study. They're not going to release that data for another whole year, and they're already FDA approved. This gene therapy technology, the mRNA technology, brand new, gets emergency use authorization, but the drugs that we know are safe, have been safe for decades, doesn't. And it's just horrific.
Yeah, and I hope that more people can realize this. Like I said, that when you're on the mainstream media and you see that they're trying to play the doctor, even doctors on mainstream media. Like I'm going to tell everybody on this video, I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on this video. Heather is not a doctor; she doesn't play one on this video. We are just sharing our experiences and our opinions, and you take what you take from it and leave the rest. But, people, because they've watched, just one source, and then I noticed that if you try to talk to them about things, they'll get very angry. And about things that they really don't know a lot about. They haven't done a lot of research. They've only just heard it over and over and over again from one source on their television. And I always tell everybody, please don't take medical advice from anyone on television. I don't care if they say they're a doctor, a specialist, whatever. You go see your own doctor, and you also use your gut instinct, and you also do your own research. So, so once you went through all that, I know that you are a mom of 3 and you're homeschooling. So did that come about in the beginning? Of course, you had a homeschool in the beginning of all this, but then didn't they go back? They went back to school.
They went back to school. And I pulled them out in October 2021. So we've been homeschooling for about 4, I don't know, time is flying, 5 months now, maybe. And I'm so grateful I did.
I was just to protect them from what was going on, right? Because
they're still, they had to wear masks up here in Maryland. And when I took my 5-year-old out, I have 10-year-old, 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old. And when I took my 5-year-old out, who already kind of has a little bit of difficulty with speech, but she is in kindergarten. She stared at my lips for 2 solid straight weeks, trying to see how they move and put that with the words I was saying. And I'm like, oh God, thank you that I brought her out.
Thank goodness. Yeah. I was actually not being a mom myself, but seeing what was happening to the kids. I was actually posting on Facebook for all of my friends that had children, homeschool them if you can, teach them, teach them what you need to teach them about thinking for themselves, about making their decisions, about talking to you, about, what did they say when we were growing up? Don't talk to strangers. Don't accept candy from a stranger.
Yes.
So you kind of have to go back to that. Because I know there's a lot going on in the schools, like you said, with the masking. And then I think at one point they were saying that, if your children are in school and we decide we need to immunize them, we're allowed without your permission.
There are some states that can do that.
That's
luckily my state is not, but
thank goodness.
Of course, a lot of states are trying to pass stuff like that, taking away the parental rights and stuff. So you really have to watch right now what's going on. Even though they might have taken the mask off or whatever, it seems like they're going your way. There's still the senators and the House of Delegates are there every day in your state trying to pass bills that you probably don't want for your children and especially if you have children, but for your state and to live that way. So
and one of my earlier videos that I did for Health Freedom, I went through the Congress.gov and the website that shows all the bills coming up for every single state.
Oh, wow.
And some of them were very, like you said, very scary. And you know what amazes me is that just one person in Congress or in your legislative branch in your state can put the bill up. Literally one person. And if they get enough votes, that one person's idea goes through. And that's a little scary to me because I know that when they try to get votes, they, there's a lot of, wheeling and dealing and coercion. So here you have a person that puts up a bill like that takes away parental rights. You don't know the person from a hole in the head, even though they say you voted for them, but maybe, you don't know if you voted for them or not. And then they put up,
you might not have.
Yeah.
It could be a different district. So you got all these senators and House of Delegates from different districts. And so say they do put up something that you don't like and you call them and they say, oh, well, I'm sorry, I only answer to the people in my district and hang up on you, which can happen.
Are you speaking from experience?
Yes.
Maybe.
And I said, well, please don't vote on a bill that affects people in my district and give me back my local power. So that was a personal experience. But yeah, I mean, even if they're not in your district, you probably didn't vote for them. You have no, you don't want them at all, maybe.
Exactly. Like I said, you probably don't even know the name of the person who is making up these rules for you and your family and your children. And that's something I've been telling everyone, you really have to start looking. I know it's challenging and difficult, but I think we're at a point in time where we really have to look into everyone who's running our town, our city, our state.
Have to pay attention.
Yeah. And I think it's going to make their work a lot harder because I know a lot of people around the country and around the world are now, being very vocal to everyone.
And are wakening up, and they're awake, and they were allowed to get, probably a few years ago, do whatever the heck they want and no one was watching. But now there's a lot of people watching. And we need a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. So speaking of that, I heard you organized a rally in Annapolis to end mask mandates. So tell me about that. Was that for the kids in school or was that for everyone in the state?
This was for the kids in the schools. Even though my kids were not in school, it just broke my heart that kids were still having to, sit all day, maybe 7 hours. And then some kids don't go home after school. So if they go to a child care facility or something, then it could be even longer. Could you imagine 10 hours or so having a kid in a mask? I can barely handle it for a couple hours. So I guess as I was waking up more to what was really going on, it just started to bother me more and more. And I saw this picture that I'll never forget. It was a picture of Chinese children, and they were all in a line, and they were all wearing the same uniform, and they all had a mask on their face, and they all had like this QR code on their chest. I'm like, they're stripping them of personal identity, of critical thinking at a very, very young age. there's no way to differentiate these children one from the next. You can't even see their face because it's masked up. They all look alike everywhere else.
Yep.
And I said, I am not going to let this happen to our country. So I
Good for you.
I had the idea to like do this rally, and there's a lot of people that are working and stuff, so it was hard juggling that with the homeschooling, and it was a busy couple of weeks to organize it, and my husband really helped me out and stepped up, and I had some late nights, but we were able to I tried to find every single Facebook page for the state of Maryland. There was a ton of them for every county. I was trying to consolidate. We all need to get on the same page. We need to be working together. And so I just reached out to everyone, friend requested, got them, told them about the rally, and it was pretty successful. And about a week later, we got the emergency regulation face covering mandate rescinded.
Yay!
So, yay! It was
awesome. And that's for all the kids in the school.
So
what about the teachers?
What they had done is that our state superintendent went to our state board of education, and they said, hey, I want to put out this emergency regulation mask mandate. And so then they had to go to this special committee. That's another thing to watch out for. The government has all these different committees and offshoots and stuff, and they're passing stuff and doing things, and you might, have no idea. So really I would try to figure out, okay, everyone's saying, okay, it's at the state level. Okay, I just wanted to dig deeper. I'm like, they're saying, they don't have the power or whatever. So just trying to figure out where the power actually came from. So that was the first thing. And once I figured out where the power came from, and that was this joint committee made of half senators, half of some of our senators, and half of some of our House of Delegates, they voted yes. So the State Board of Education came to them with this emergency regulation for the mask mandates, and they all voted yes. Not all of them, but a lot of them voted yes for it. And it was in effect, and it had been. And then they, so that was in September, and they renewed it in January. It was supposed to expire. It's only, and it's an emergency. It's not supposed to last forever. After 180 days, they went in and they reestablished it. But this time when they reestablished it, they put in these off ramps, which would make it really, really difficult to reach these off ramps. So anyway,
oh, wow.
It would have expired again in July, but I just didn't want these kids to have to suffer the psychological and the physical harm from these masks, not 1 minute longer.
Yeah.
So that's why we went to the State House, because that's where the senators and the House of Delegates were, and they came out when they broke for lunch, and we were all there.
Wow.
And a lot of them gave us thumbs up, and maybe some of them snuck out the back door.
Probably.
But some of them definitely were not, I guess, agreeing with what we wanted. They kind of ran off and hid. So, but it was very successful. A week later, they all voted yes to rescind it. So
all of
it
them?
Was except one. All of them except one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great, Heather. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah. I am so proud of you. And do the moms or everybody that you got, do they still stick together on a different group, or do you have
So unfortunately, everyone's still kind of on their own group. So now we have the trucker convoy here in Hagerstown, Maryland, and they're going to do their loop around the Beltway every day that they can, and meeting with the senators and Congress people down in DC. And but they need help. We need to have a nationwide campaign of emails and phone calls, and we need to all, as the United States of America, come together on this, blow up the emails, blow up the telephones. And that's what we did we didn't just go and rally outside. The weeks before, we were emailing and calling every day. So they were remember that one person I said might have hung up on me saying, I don't have time for you. I was like, oh, okay.
Aren't they just staff members? When you call, the staff members answer, right?
Sometimes you get the senators, like I did one morning. And he said that, oh, you're not in my district and I don't have time to deal with people outside my district. So this is what they did. At the state level, they took away our local boards. To answer your question earlier, which I didn't completely answer, they took away our local Board of Education's power. And so when they rescinded this mask mandate, it took away their power and put it back down to the local power. So almost all of our counties also ended the mask mandates pretty much immediately. And then except two, Montgomery County and PG County. And so they I don't know if PG's rescinded theirs yet, but Montgomery was my big one I was working for, because my mom has to wear the mask and
that's a big county, so yeah.
So they just did that. Yeah. That was amazing.
Excellent.
And so I have to check on PG. So, but anyway, we do need to have, I don't know if you know about Trump's platform. I don't know if there's a space there.
No, you can't really. And for me, I'm independent, unaffiliated, so I try not to get political with anything. And as far as that, I guess that social media site that's out there, I know there's a really long wait for it.
Okay.
But what I'm
not on it, so
no, I mean, I've seen people that are talking about it and saying that they're on it, but I'm not sure. I think the people we need to reach are still on, like Facebook and, out there in that land, but more so, like you said, the calling and talking to people in person. Because as a matter of fact, on my website, when this video goes up at lisampepe.com, I will put in the show notes or in the blog post, I'll put some links. There are links to these action networks where you can actually click on, find all of your senators. I think they have it for the state and federal level. And when you click on it, you can write an email and you just do a couple of clicks and they'll send out the email to everyone for you.
Oh, wow.
So
and
there
that's
are
on your website?
I'll put the link to their websites at the bottom of this post when I go on my website, lisampepe.com, on the video blog tab. So it'll be in the blog post, and I'll put the links, because there are places that do that. But every time I've done that, you get a generic letter back, you get an answer back, I get the emails back, but it feels so generic and impersonal. And I think that, a lot of the people in our government, local, state, federal, they have gotten away with things because it's so impersonal. You just elect someone, you go vote, and then they go do whatever they want and they don't ever hear from you personally. So I think, social media is great, but I think in person, or at the very least phone calls, or like you were doing, maybe, Messenger, private message people, or go into the groups and make friends with the people in the groups. That's what I'm finding. And and if people look around, like we have in Florida, the Florida Freedom Keepers, and we have We Are Change Orlando, and a couple of other groups that work together. And they do events together all over the state. And I'm on their websites. I'm on their Telegram's another one that's taking the place of Twitter. And so I'm on all of them. I'm on Rumble, Telegram. I'm still on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. There's a few other ones out there, but I haven't gotten to them yet. But everybody can go to all these different social media places and find groups. And like you did. Now, did you go to the groups and ask to join the group and then just post that you were having an event?
So I originally was going to just post the event. Like make an event on each Facebook page. But then I said, I want everyone to know that there's more than, maybe the few that sign up on that page, that's going to be bigger than that. So then I went onto my page and I made a event, and then I shared it with all the groups. And that was good, because then everyone could RSVP and everyone could see everyone else that's coming. And that was really nice. And then we could talk to each other all in one space. So
basically everybody who joined that event, you can still get in touch with them for something else. And are they all local to you, or?
Yeah, all in Maryland.
All over Maryland.
I searched every county for people, like-minded people.
Right.
I wanted everyone to be out there, and
Yeah.
so
Okay.
all over.
Well, that's great, Heather. My God, I know I've been hearing all this stuff you've been doing, and like I almost feel like I'm falling a little behind. You know, I haven't gone to an event in
I've
Florida.
taken a little break after that when after we got the masks off, most of the kids here,
Yeah, that was a
had
big
to take a
one.
little break.
That's
So,
okay. And that's what I tell everyone. I say, when you do it, I have another friend here that I met through another group. And I said, you do it for a while, take a break and then get back to it. Or, just wait until you see the next big thing, that's, really crawling under your skin, and
right,
you're like, I
right.
really have to do something about that. And there's a lot of little things you can do. So, I mean, as far as health freedom and medical choice, what would you tell everyone who's watching about, why that's so important? I guess just a quick synopsis, because I know there are a lot of people out there that, they see the health freedom movement, they see the, medical choice movement. And I think sometimes they don't understand a lot about it. They get very defensive. Like even the truckers convoy, the people's convoy, people don't understand what they're really fighting for and how this can help everyone in the future. And so the people that, that are, maybe not against it, but are kind of like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that. Whatever will be, just let them do their thing. I'm not sure that they fully understand that, there are things going on behind the scenes, and the people like us and other people that are doing the research and actually pulling this stuff to the surface is like, here, I found this. These are actually documents, government studies, everything, and what would you tell them, if they're still like, oh, no, we need to keep our masks on forever. We need to do this forever. I mean, I always say it's about choice. If you feel like you have to wear a mask or 10, then go ahead. I'm not going to tell you not to. If you feel that you want to, get a shot or 10, go right ahead. I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm merely going to tell you what my choices are, and I'm going to tell you to do your own research and look into things further and just know the effects and know more about it.
Yeah.
What would you say?
I think it's extremely important to know more about whatever you're putting into your body. And I don't think that blindly trusting anybody is safe. I know that because early treatments were suppressed, a lot of people died needlessly. And I still meet people all the time that had no clue that there were early treatments out there. So if you don't do your own research, you won't know how to protect yourself. And yeah, maybe sometimes the government has our best interests at heart, but maybe sometimes it doesn't. And if you don't read and do your own research and know what you're putting in your own body, then you can't protect yourself. You can't protect your children. You can't blindly trust people that might not have your best interests at heart. So I strongly believe in whatever it is you're about to do, if it's new, if it's different, or if I have something wrong with myself, I want to research it thoroughly. And or if there's, like with COVID, as soon as I figured out that there was things out there that could treat the symptoms and help prevent you from actually getting sick, like the vitamins and so forth, and potentially the iver, maybe even prevent transmission. I got really serious. My first thing I did was try to get everything I could, all the vitamins that was recommended, everything that I could find that helped with COVID. I got it and I bought it, and then I shared it, and I shared the information, and I shared when my friends got sick, I gave them little care packages. I shouldn't probably say that, but vitamins and I think that it's extremely important. So when if there's something wrong with me, or if I'm suffering from anything and I want to research it, and then if I figure out there's something good, like maybe there was a mouthwash that was really, really good at killing viruses, I Google it, and of course, or DuckDuckGo, I would try to go on Amazon. I would try to find that. Okay.
Right.
And when you don't have choice, some of these really, really good things weren't available in the United States of America.
Yeah.
you know? And so if you don't have freedom of choice, people are suppressing everything that you know will be good for your body, and
Yeah.
they're keeping that from you.
Yeah.
That's extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
And so how can we protect our families if we don't have choice?
Right.
So,
And again, if, if the person who is getting the shots or following their doctor's advice, that's their choice.
yes.
If your doctor wants to load you up with whatever he wants to load you up with, that's your choice with your doctor. But that doesn't mean that what your doctor wants to do with you is good for another person. Everybody's an
That's right.
individual. And
nobody knows what you
nope.
know your body best.
Yeah.
Nobody else knows
Yep.
how you're going to react to things, what medical conditions you have, any of that, your history.
Yep.
So
Yeah. And it amazed
sometimes
me
even
that
a doctor doesn't know that about you.
yeah, and it amazed me that, perfect strangers or even acquaintances or even friends could actually turn around and tell you to have a medical procedure. I think it's best if you have a medical procedure. I'm like in shock about that. I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, I'm so far removed from that I do my own research. I'm over here. I have my own doctor. I know what, I'll take care of what I need to take care of. I had never had so many people coming up and asking me if I had a medical procedure, if I wanted to have one, or pushing me to have one, or, shaming me for not having one in my entire life. And whatever happened to the human psyche during the past 2 years, we've got to fix, because everyone has to have their own choice. If, I used to use the simple scenario, if you're allergic to peanuts and your throat swells up when you eat peanuts and you can go into anaphylactic shock and die, and I come to you with a shot full of peanut juice and I say, I'm going to inject this in you, this is going to help you. And you say, no, I can't have that. I'm allergic to it. And I say, I don't care. You don't have a choice. Boom. Like, where in the world do people not understand the meaning of choice? And it's not people being one against the other. It's just everybody has a choice. And that's the way it really should be. And, health freedom, medical choice, all of that, I've stood for that for a very long time. And I'm glad that you're standing too, like I said. I mean, I don't know if I wouldn't say that, we're necessarily more awake. I think it's, people like us, like I said, we do more research. I've always been curious about everything. Like like you said, if something's wrong or up and I want to fix it, I'm looking around, I'm trying to figure it out. Some people, I get it. They don't want to be bothered with research and all that. So the only
a lot of people are extremely busy, and that's what, and people, and the government knows that they're people, the citizens of the United States are running the country, and then other people are making laws that affects these citizens, and they know that the citizens a lot of times don't have time to know. They're just trusting that they elected these people to represent them and take care of them, and that might not be the case in every situation.
Well, and it also, like I said, it just might not be for everyone. There's never a one size fits all in medicine, and there's not even a one size fits all in herbal remedies or anything like that, because some people are sensitive. I can't take certain herbs that I've been prescribed by naturopaths. I'm like, no, I can't. I'm sensitive to that. I can't take it. So it's not one size fits all. Everybody has to remember to give everyone a choice and, live and let live. And if you have to protect yourself the way you see fit, you go and do it. But if you're doing all those things to protect yourself, you shouldn't have to worry about anyone else if they work, and if they don't work, then what are we doing anyway, right? Okay. And on that note, Heather, is there anything else you would like to say, and anywhere that anyone can get in touch with you if they wanted to?
I would just ask people to just question everything. Ask why. If somebody says something, ask why. And if something doesn't make sense, look into it, and just keep. And then once you start doing your own research, you won't stop. I can guarantee you that.
I know and the only thing I do have to tell everyone, go to the source, and it's very challenging. Go to the source or somebody you trust that is already doing the research. Because a lot of times when you go on Google, you can't really get to where you want to go. And a lot of times when you go to like the websites, like even the NIH or the CDC or the FDA, you have to dig and you have to go into their documents. And I understand where people can't do that. I do get it because not everybody's like us, but if you
DuckDuckGo, if you start there and you
much better. Yeah.
it's much better, and you can actually kind of start, and then there's a lot of links sometimes in like news articles and so forth. There's links to actual documents and stuff that you can go and you can verify information on the actual websites and stuff. So
yeah, and the actual studies and everything like that. Definitely.
yeah. Yes, and follow your intuition. And so I'm on Facebook. Heather Fletcher is my name, and I went to the University of North Dakota. So, and I live in Maryland, so you might be able to find me there. And
so this is your friend's page that you posted?
Yeah, it's
on. Okay.
Yep, I do everything on my main
on your main friend's page. Okay. I have two. I have LisaMPepe.com, my personal page, and I have LisaMPepe.com, my public profile page. And yeah, I post on both, so you can find me over there and on my website, LisaMPepe.com and awellbeingawakening.com. And like I said, this video with Heather and all the information, and I'll try to get the links that she mentioned, and I'll put the links that I mentioned on the blog post over at LisaMPepe.com on the video blog tab. And that's great, Heather. Well, thank you. It was so nice talking to you, and we'll do this again soon. It was fun.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure that we'll be pulling up more research, and we'll have more to tell everyone. Probably tomorrow, but but if anything, in a few weeks from now. All right, Heather. All right, everyone. I'm going to go, and I'm going to chit chat with Heather on the back end here. But great to have you here, and I'll see you on the next Health Freedom Series video. Bye-bye.